Men don't marry for love. Let's be honest about that. One woman has never, and will never, be enough for a man who has decided she won't be. A man doesn't wake up one morning and choose his wife because she is the great love of his life. He chooses her because she was there, because she was convenient, because the timing aligned with something he needed, an image, a contract, a silence that suited him. Love is a story men tell women to make the cage more comfortable. The truth? A man marries who is available, not who he truly wants, not who keeps him up at night. He marries the woman who fits the life he has already decided to live. And then he continues living it exactly as he planned. Exactly as he planned. This is the story of Park Jae-won, a man who had everything: money, power, women, respect, a man who believed he needed nothing, and a woman named Vanessa, who was about to become the most inconvenient truth of his entire life. The car was a blacked-out Bentley. Of course it was. Park Jae-won sat in the back seat the way powerful men sit, completely still, one arm resting along the door, phone in hand, jaw set like it had been carved from something that didn't believe in softness. He was 32 years old and looked like money that had never once apologized for itself. Dark suit, no tie, a watch that cost more than most people's apartments. His phone buzzed. He looked at it once, then looked away. It buzzed again. He picked it up. "Talk," he said. No greeting, no name. Just the single word, flat and final, like a door closing. "Sir, the Busan delivery has been delayed. Yi Choi's men are saying there was a complication at the port, and—" "I don't pay Choi's men to have complications," Jae-won said. "I pay them to deliver." "Yes, sir, but the situation at the port—" "If the delivery isn't resolved by 6 a.m., he said, his voice never once rising, somehow more dangerous for it, "I won't be calling Choi. I'll be visiting him. And I don't visit people to have conversations. Do we understand each other?" Silence on the line. "Yes, sir. Understood." He hung up without another word and looked back out the window. His driver, Kong, glanced in the rearview mirror and said absolutely nothing. Kang had been driving Jae-won for 6 years. He had learned in the first week that the correct number of things to say to Park Jae-won was usually 0. The car pulled up to Eclipse, Seoul's most exclusive private members club. The kind of place with no sign outside because the people who belonged there already knew where it was. A doorman materialized out of the rain before the car had fully stopped. Jae-won stepped out without waiting, jacket open, rain landing on him with the kind of indifference only available to men who have decided weather is beneath them. Inside, Eclipse was everything the outside wasn't. Warm amber light, low jazz, the soft percussion of expensive glasses being set on marble surfaces. Women turned when he walked in. They always did. Not just because he was beautiful in that severe, controlled way, but because there was something about Jae-won that registered in the body before the mind caught up. Something that said danger and power in the same breath. Year requested has been taken care of. Jae-won, your usual section is ready, and the arrangement you requested has been taken care of. Jae-won didn't look at him. His eyes were already scanning the room. She's here? Both of them, sir, as requested. A flicker of something crossed Jae-won's face. Not satisfaction exactly, more like a man checking something off a list. Good. Send a bottle of the 09 Burgundy, and tell the jazz quartet to take a break. They're off-tempo tonight and it's irritating me. He walked away before Director O could respond. His private section was past the velvet rope, low lighting, a table that overlooked the whole floor like a throne that had decided to disguise itself as furniture. 2 women were already there. Amsu-ah, tall, sharp, a model whose face had been on 3 international covers that year. And Yuna, quieter, warmer, the kind of beautiful that took a moment to fully understand. Both of them lit up when Jae-won appeared. Both of them had been here before. Both of them understood, with the particular clarity of women who have learned to read men like this, exactly what this evening was and what it was not. "You're late," Sua said, smiling, shifting to make room. "I'm never late," Jae-won said, sitting without acknowledging the complaint. "Everything else is simply early." Sua laughed like it was the most charming thing she had ever heard. He didn't smile back. He picked up the drink that had materialized in front of him, looked out over the club floor, and for a moment, just a moment, something behind his eyes went somewhere else entirely. Somewhere that had nothing to do with any of this. Somewhere quiet and far away that he visited sometimes without meaning to, and left without understanding why. His phone had 12 unread messages. 3 were from his lieutenants. 2 were from his lawyer. 1 was from a woman in Jeju who thought what they had was more than it was. And 1, buried at the bottom, sent 3 days ago, still unread, was from his wife. He had a wife. He almost never thought about that. Across the city, in a world that had nothing in common with Eclipse except the same night sky above it, Vanessa Adiemi Park sat on a wide window ledge with her knees pulled to her chest and a book open in her lap that she hadn't looked at in 40 minutes. She was 30 years old and beautiful in a way that this penthouse had never quite known what to do with. Deep brown skin, natural hair pinned loosely at the crown, wearing an oversized cream sweater and socks with small embroidered flowers on them that had absolutely no business being in a place this expensive. But she fit anyway. She had made herself fit, had pressed her warmth into every cold corner of this apartment until it felt like hers, even though nothing about how she had come to be here had ever been entirely her choice. On the kitchen counter, her phone screen lit up. A message from her mother in Atlanta. "Called twice today, baby. Everything okay? You seem quiet lately." Vanessa looked at it for a long moment. Then she picked up her book. She didn't reply. Minji, one of her 2 maids, 26, sighed with kind eyes and the quiet composure of someone who had witnessed too much without being asked to, appeared at the kitchen doorway. "Mrs. Park, it's almost midnight. Have you eaten?" "I had the rice earlier," Vanessa said, not looking up. "That was at 6. Minji." "Ma'am?" Vanessa lowered the book. Gently. "I'm fine. Go to bed." Minji hesitated. In the year and a half she had worked in this penthouse, she had developed an unauthorized affection for Vanessa that had nothing to do with her job description. She had watched this woman build a life out of very little, out of books and music and paint, and a quiet, stubborn determination not to be reduced by the circumstances she had been placed in. She had also noticed the small red light of the hallway camera blinking every night without fail. She had never mentioned it to Vanessa. She wasn't entirely sure Vanessa didn't already know. "I'll leave something in the oven," Minji said quietly, "in case you're hungry later." She disappeared before Vanessa could tell her not to. Vanessa looked back at the window, at the city that didn't know she was watching, at the life that had been handed to her instead of lived. Her phone lit up again. Not a message this time. A calendar reminder she had set herself 6 months ago, in a moment of dark humor she had never been fully able to explain. It read, "Anniversary, Year 2. She stared at it. Then she turned the phone face down. She had married a man who treated her like a responsibility. A man who gave her everything except himself, who monitored her from cameras he thought she didn't know about. Who sent staff to her instead of coming himself. Who had touched her hand exactly once, at the altar, and not again since. She had told herself in the beginning that she could fix it, that beneath all that ice somewhere there was water. She was still telling herself that. The question was how long a woman could keep believing something that kept giving her nothing back. Back at Eclipse, the club was thinning out. The jazz had resumed, forgiven. Jae-won sat alone now. Both women had left. Taken care of in the financial and logistical sense that was the only sense he operated in when it came to people. The table held an empty bottle and a glass he was still working through. His lieutenant Han Seojin slid into the seat across from him uninvited. Broad-shouldered, 35, are the only person on earth who spoke to Jae-won with anything approaching real honesty. It was either bravery or a death wish. With Han, it had always been the former. "Your father called the office today," Han said. The glass paused, halfway to Jae-won's mouth. "About what?" "You. He can call me directly. He says you don't pick up on Sundays anymore." A beat. "I've been busy on Sundays." Han paused, choosing his next words with the care of a man defusing something in the dark. He also asked about Mrs. Park. The temperature in Jaewon's eyes dropped several degrees. What about her? He wants to know if the marriage has become a real one. The marriage is real. It's legal. It's documented. You know what he means, Jaewon. Silence. Jaewon set his glass down with a precision that communicated exactly how finished this conversation was. She has a penthouse, staff, every material thing she could want. She doesn't suffer. She's alone, Han said quietly. Alone is not suffering. Sometimes it is. Jaewon looked at him then. Really looked at him, with those flat, unreadable eyes that had made grown men reconsider their life choices in the middle of a sentence. The situation is what it is. She knew what she was agreeing to. Did she? No answer. The Incheon meeting is at 7, Jaewon said, standing, reaching for his jacket. Get some sleep. He walked out of Eclipse and back into the rain. Got into the Bentley. Told Kang to drive. Did not say where. Kang drove. For 20 minutes, Jaewon said nothing, stared at nothing, and watched the city move past the window like a film he had already seen. Then the car turned, almost on its own, toward Gangnam. And for a moment, Jaewon let it. Then quietly, without looking at anyone, he said, No, the estate, take me home. Kang corrected course without a word. But in the rearview mirror just for a second, he watched his employer's eyes lift toward a high-rise as they passed it, toward a lit window on the top floor, toward a silhouette sitting in it, knees pulled up, perfectly still. He looked for 4 seconds, then the car moved, and he looked away, the way he always did, from everything that might cost him something real.